Hi guys, so when Brexiteers are angry, they either wave their fist at a cloud or they write comments on this channel, or perhaps some of them write letters to people. Now this is a letter that was sent to Lord David Frost, Minister of State for the Cabinet Office, an unelected bureaucrat, but we'll park that for a moment. This letter was sent by Brexiteers who are angry with the way the EU is treating the fishing industry. Now, it's been sent by some people I know, some people I don't. Lee Anderson, I know Lee Anderson very well. Hardman Steve Baker, I know him very well. And also Peter Bone, he's actually appeared in some of the videos I've uploaded. Now, this letter is to David Frost. Now, before we actually read the letter, it's very important to remember this letter is not for the EU. It's not actually for David Frost. It's political theatre. It's an attempt to show to Brexiteers and to the British public that senior Brexiteers within the Conservative Party are looking out for them, are fighting back, fighting the good fight against the EU. This letter will mean nothing. It will achieve nothing, I should say. But let's get into it anyway. It says here, Dear Lord Frost, we write with concern regarding the ongoing damage the EU's post-Brexit ban on the import of shellfish is having on the UK's seafood industry. Okay, we all know that the problem here is that because the UK is no longer a member of the single market and the customs union is the third country, according to laws that existed before that happened, before the UK voted for Brexit, there was a restriction on unpurified shellfish coming into the EU. So when the UK was a member, it was fully capable of exporting shellfish, unpurified shellfish, to its markets in the EU. Because in those markets, there were purification plants that would purify them and then sell them on. That was not an issue. But because the UK is now a third country, it can't sell unpurified produce into the EU because it's a third country. I don't know if that's clear or not, but that's the problem. This isn't something new. This has been on the books since 2007 or 2008. Anyway, it goes on to say, it is clear that the way the EU is interpreting the rules, their own rules, amounts to acting in bad faith. But this is not bad faith because this has always been the case. This was one of the rules that were actually signed by the UK government back in the day. Yet again, and this is designed to damage the UK's fishing industry. Yes, because the EU are more interested in damaging someone else's industry than maintaining their own rules. We believe it is now time for a robust response from the UK. So what is this robust response? The UK presently imports huge volumes of bottled water from the EU. Okay? The purity of this water we take on trust. Are these people just insane or are they just stupid? You don't take the quality of the water on trust. There are certifications that need to be adhered to for water purification. You don't just... Are these people insane, really? Or do they actually believe the things that they write? Or do they just think that the public are stupid enough to believe them? That you take the quality of the product, bottled water, on trust? No, there are certifications that need to be adhered to. There are certain standards that must be required that have to be achieved. If it doesn't, then it's not imported. Is it ridiculous? Anyway, as the EU used to do with our shellfish prior to the 1st of January. No, it's not they took it on trust. It was nothing to do with trust. It was down to rules. As you know, the UK have some of the highest standards of tap water in the world. How is that relevant? Okay. So we're going to ban EU bottled water. We are therefore urging you to consider a ban on the importation of bottled water products from the EU. On what grounds? What rules exist to say that it's okay to ban these products? This could all be replaced with domestic products. Well, if they're being imported, it means that they can't be replaced, or it's more difficult to replace it, and would have significant environmental benefit. Then we have the the Brexiteers who suddenly became tree-hugging hippies all of a sudden, as there can be fewer things more wasteful than transporting bottled water and its packaging around the world. They didn't have a problem with this until the 1st of January. They suddenly became environmentalists on the 1st of January. Isn't that strange? Such action would result in less loss to the UK economy or jobs overall, and we think it would focus minds in the EU. We're back to the old, they need to give us a good deal because of the German car industry, or they need to give us a good deal because of the French wine industry. They still don't get it. But once again, this is not for the EU. This is not for David Frost. This is for the British public. Look at what we're doing. Look at how we're standing up to the EU. Together with this, we can also urge you to look into EU food standards. So we're going to, we're not going to limit it to just water. We're going to include food standards, attack their food standards as well. As only this week, 5 people are suspected to have died, and hundreds became seriously ill after eating contaminated chicken imported from the EU. Okay, what evidence do you have to support that? Suspected. See the word they have, the weasel words they used here. Suspected to have died. There's no evidence to support that but they don't actually provide any evidence here. This is just something they've plucked out of the air. Maybe they read it on the Express or something. Throughout the last 4 years of negotiations, and in particular with regard to the interpretation of legal agreements, the EU have taken every advantage of playing the CAD. I'm not sure what they mean by that. And the UK have had every disadvantage of playing the gentleman. I thought you held all the cards. That's what Brexiteers were saying all the time. We hold all the cards. They need us more than we need them. Now you're starting to say, how dare the EU treat us so badly? Shouldn't they show us some respect? Don't they understand gentlemanly behaviour? It's time for the UK to make a stand and say, oh no, to the EU, until they lift their ban on UK shellfish. These people are insane. Or, as I've said before, they're not insane. They're sly. And they think that the British public are insane. Or at least gullible. You know, anyone who has a problem with this should actually do a little bit of research. Find out exactly why the shellfish is not being imported. If you can't find out, maybe ask a fisherman. An honest fisherman. Because if it's a Brexiteer, he'll probably just say, oh, it's because of the EU. You say, well, how come you were able to export it before the 1st of January? Because the EU brought in these new rules. But these rules were in place since 2008, 2007. How is it possible that you didn't know about this? How is it possible that Brexiteers didn't tell you about this? And it says that, you know, if you were exporting them, how come they were being allowed to be imported? Is it because people in Europe just let their customers eat unpurified fish or shellfish? No, because they were being purified in the EU, in EU countries, and then sold on. Once again, as I've said before, this is not for the unelected bureaucrat David Frost. This is not for the EU. This is for the British public. Look at what we're doing. We're standing up to the EU. We're going to block their bottled water. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?